I wish. I wish. I wish. I wish.
Explores the consequences of wishes, you know? And what happens, all these people go out to get their happy endings at all costs, at any cost. And then there are things that happen because of that. You know, Jack does get his gold, and he and his mother can eat, but he's killed the giant in the process, so that the lady giant comes down to seek revenge.
If you go see Into the Woods in the theater, in a really, really good production, you'll pick up 95% of the lyrics, maybe. But you'll miss. There's not one word that's missed in this, except for the things that were cut. Anyway. And that's the luxury, because there's an intimacy that you... So I guess that's Rob's genius at being able to accept filmically a big sound and yet still have the intimacy and have them married in one filmic language.
I'm embarrassed to say that I had not seen the show, or I'd heard of it a little bit, but I'd never seen it. I don't think it's done as much in the UK. In every American school or college, it seems to be performed a lot. And sadly, they usually do the first act, and then when everyone gets there happily ever after, and they sort of miss the point. Yeah, so I was surprised that my husband, who does not like musicals, knew of Into the Woods, and even sang Into the Woods when I was like going for my audition. You know, this is a man who never watches them. So I think this is evidence that this musical means a lot to Americans, especially.
I know people that love Sondheim said to me, "You get the line, you get the line." But of course, there's no time to sit and dither while there wither. I guess it was written with an American accent in mind, and as you say, it went Essex, wither. Yeah. You know, it changed. But it is the complexity of it. And you say, what do you say? It's like calculus. But yeah, and it's like doing Shakespeare. But to go and just the bits that I get to do, I made sure I went to David Crane, took me into his apartment, who was one of our arrangers, and helped me, practice, and just how it was an extension, and just the small bits I had. But I just was determined to be a part of it.
I remember seeing Into the Woods and thinking, I wonder if this came back to the West End and I was sort of the right age, that the Baker might be a part that I could throw my hat in the ring for. I never thought for a second that at the moment it would be committed to film with such a director, with such a cast, that I would be even in contention for it. So I'm thrilled to just be part of it, really.
I've always found it very nerve-wracking to sing in front of people. But in this case, it was really hard to say no, because I wanted to work with Meryl again. I loved Rob, and we'd met, but we'd never worked together. And the part was so extraordinary, so it was a very hard thing to resist. So I had lots of singing lessons.
Stay at home. I am home. Who out there could love you more than I? What out there that I cannot supply?
The truth is, it's like a full circle, because it keeps pointing at whose fault it was. I mean, for instance, the giant's wife would not have come down if there wasn't a second beanstalk, and that wouldn't have happened if the baker's wife hadn't taken that bean, and then if Cinderella hadn't thrown that bean and it got planted, and all that. I mean, what it says is that it's all gray. There's no black or white, and that's what the film says. It's, you decide, when in the beautiful song "No One Is Alone," the baker and Cinderella say to the children, "You decide what's right, you decide what's good." And that's really the message of the piece.
It's a Disney message, because the film that marked my life as a 7-year-old was Bambi. And the mother dies, like in the first 5 minutes. That's an unhappy beginning. And yet, life goes on.
And so that's what happens. And it's sort of, and what's beautiful about the piece is that it explores what happens after Happily Ever After, and reveals that it becomes more like real life, you know? And things don't exactly happen the way you expect them to happen. And sometimes you lose people too early, halfway through the wood. And how do you move forward? And that's the message of the piece, that you move forward together.
This is a complex thing. Every single person is at war with themselves in this, except Rapunzel, who's perfect, right? But everybody wants a good thing, or for bad reasons. I mean, no, the other way around. Yeah, they're after something, and they're willing to compromise everything together.
Princes and castles. Why would you run away?
It's not quite what I expected. Maybe I shouldn't have strayed from the path.
Don't you know what's out there in the world? Someone has to shield you from the world.
It's because of you there's a giant in our midst.
We